In some prisons, walls trap you. In the platform, hunger does. The platform shows a frightening vertical prison called the Pit. It's a tower with many floors, 2 prisoners per level. Each day, a platform of food descends from the top floor downward. Prisoners at higher levels feast greedily, leaving almost nothing for those below. Those trapped near the bottom starve or turn violent. Every month, prisoners wake randomly assigned to a new level. Sometimes they're lucky and eat, sometimes unlucky and starve. The darkness comes from human selfishness and cruelty. Instead of sharing, people hoard out of fear. Even good prisoners become violent monsters. The platform tests human morality in desperate conditions. Prisoners fight, kill, and even resort to cannibalism. Goreng, the main character, tries to change this system by convincing others to ration food. He hopes prisoners can learn kindness, but each attempt fails due to mistrust and greed. People prefer short-term satisfaction over compassion. Eventually, Goreng realizes the problem isn't the prison, it's human nature itself. The Pit doesn't just trap bodies, it destroys hope. People become animals when forced to compete for survival. The platform warns us clearly. Without compassion, humanity easily collapses into savagery. This universe shows that in extreme conditions, cruelty and selfishness become common, proving that human civilization is always one meal away from barbarism. Fear is powerful, but what if just seeing fear could kill you? Bird Box explores a post-apocalyptic world attacked by unseen creatures. Anyone who sees them immediately goes insane, violently hurting themselves or others. Survivors must live blindfolded, never looking outside. Mallory, the main character, guides her children down a dangerous river, eyes covered, relying only on sounds. This universe is haunting because seeing, the most basic human sense, is deadly. Society crumbles as people isolate themselves in darkness. Communities vanish, replaced by silent homes and blindfolded travelers. Even outside becomes terrifying. Survivors can't trust strangers, unsure if they're sane or corrupted by the creatures. Communication and relationships break down as paranoia grows. Mallory struggles to teach her children to survive without sight. They never see trees, rivers, or each other's faces clearly. Love and trust become difficult because even looking at someone could mean death. Humans rely on sight for safety and connection. Without it, life is isolated, frightening, and brutal. People become desperate, violent, and suicidal, driven mad by their own curiosity. The creatures never physically attack. Instead, they break human minds, using fear itself as a weapon. Bird Box warns that true horror isn't always monsters, but our own minds, easily turned against us. In this universe, sight is deadly, silence is survival, and fear becomes the ultimate predator. When nature turns against us, humans lose control completely. Annihilation takes place in Area X, a mysterious zone created by a strange event. Inside Area X, nature mutates rapidly. Plants, animals, and even humans blend together, creating terrifying hybrids. Lena, a biologist, joins a small team sent to investigate the zone. Inside, they discover reality itself is distorted. Humans mutate painfully, losing their memories and identities. A frightening bear-like creature absorbs human screams, mimicking their cries for help. Area X slowly erases the border between species, making humans part of nature in horrifying ways. The universe is haunting because humans completely lose control over their bodies and minds. Biology becomes unpredictable and deadly. Nothing remains stable or safe. Characters struggle desperately to remember who they are as their bodies change into something monstrous. Lena confronts copies of herself, unsure what's real or illusion. Area X isn't evil, just indifferent, reshaping life randomly. But this indifference is terrifying, destroying identity and humanity. The horror comes from realizing humans aren't special or protected. We're just organic material, easily reshaped into nightmare forms by forces we can't understand. Annihilation shows humans losing their humanity, becoming mere parts of a chaotic, uncaring natural world. This universe warns that nature doesn't serve humanity, and if disturbed, it can violently reclaim control, transforming our world into a surreal nightmare. What if crime wasn't illegal for one night every year? That's what happens in The Purge. The Purge universe is set in future America, where one night each year, all crimes, including murder, become legal for 12 hours. The government claims this releases people's anger, creating a peaceful society the rest of the year. In reality, it unleashes unimaginable horror. Ordinary people become ruthless killers overnight. Neighborhoods turn into hunting grounds, families betrayed by friends. Rich people hunt the poor for entertainment, protected by secure homes. Poor families hide, defenseless, becoming prey. This universe is disturbing because humans willingly become monsters. Normal friendly neighbors transform into vicious murderers driven by jealousy or revenge. People plan killings throughout the year, waiting for Purge night to attack. The government secretly uses the Purge to control the population, removing the weak, homeless, and unemployed. Human lives become disposable, valued only for survival or revenge. No one is safe. Trust disappears entirely. This universe shows a terrifying truth. Humans can quickly become savage killers when laws disappear. Civilization is fragile. One night of freedom can shatter society completely. The Purge exposes humanity's hidden brutality, reminding us that beneath law and order, cruelty always waits, eager for release. This universe isn't scary because of monsters or aliens, but because it reveals humans as the true threat. Imagine waking up to find the world ended while you slept. In 28 days later, Jim awakens in a London hospital, deserted and silent. He soon discovers a deadly virus called Rage infected most of humanity, turning people into aggressive, fast-moving killers. Unlike traditional zombies, infected people here run and attack violently within seconds. Society collapses overnight, leaving cities deserted ruins. Survivors hide fearfully, avoiding infection at all costs. This universe is frightening because it feels real and immediate. The virus spreads rapidly through blood or saliva, turning loved ones into attackers instantly. Trust vanishes completely. Survivors must avoid close contact, isolating themselves emotionally and physically. Normal people become violent killers, driven by uncontrollable rage. Even the military, meant to protect survivors, becomes ruthless, seeing women merely as breeding tools to repopulate the world. Humanity falls quickly into chaos and brutality. The infected aren't undead, just sick humans driven mad, highlighting the thin line between humanity and animal violence. Jim must survive not just monsters, but other survivors who have lost morality completely. 28 days later shows that when society collapses, humans revert to basic instincts, violence, fear, and self-preservation. The haunting reality isn't monsters, but how quickly people become them. This universe reminds us society is fragile, and civilization can disappear overnight, replaced by madness. The girl with all the gifts. What happens when humanity's survival depends on sacrificing innocent children? In this universe, a fungus infects humanity, turning victims into zombie-like hungries. Melanie is a special child, infected but intelligent and capable of human emotions. She's held in a military base where scientists experiment on children to find a cure. Adults fear and mistreat Melanie and others, treating them as dangerous monsters. Melanie struggles between human intelligence and hunger for flesh. Outside the base, humanity is nearly extinct. Survivors scavenge desperately, terrified of the infected. The darkness here comes from adults willingly torturing and sacrificing innocent children for survival. Melanie, despite intelligence and kindness, faces constant hatred and fear from people around her. Humanity survives by losing morality entirely. Eventually, Melanie must decide if humanity deserves survival at the cost of her and other children's lives. This universe questions what makes someone human and whether survival justifies cruelty. The horror isn't just zombies, it's the adults' willingness to treat children as disposable, sacrificing their innocence and lives selfishly. The haunting question remains, if humanity survives by cruelty and sacrifice, is it still worth saving? The girl with all the gifts explores humanity's morality collapsing under fear, making survival meaningless without compassion or kindness. What if your weekend getaway became your worst nightmare? Eden Lake shows a young couple, Jenny and Steve, visiting a quiet lakeside forest for a relaxing vacation. Their peaceful trip turns terrifying when they encounter a group of aggressive teenagers who begin tormenting them without reason. The situation escalates quickly from harmless pranks to brutal violence. The couple tries reasoning and begging, but the teens respond with increasingly savage cruelty. This universe is haunting because the horror isn't supernatural or extraordinary, it's terrifyingly realistic. The teens have no moral compass, empathy, or guilt. They hunt and torture simply for fun, showing human cruelty in its rawest form. The film highlights how quickly ordinary situations can spiral into nightmare scenarios. Even worse, the adults in the community ignore or even encourage the violence, protecting their own children despite knowing their cruelty. The couple finds no help, only betrayal and brutality. This world reveals that civilization's rules and morals easily collapse when tested. The teens represent humanity stripped of conscience, attacking simply because they can. Eden Lake is horrifying because it could happen anywhere, showing how fragile human decency really is. The true darkness comes from realizing that evil isn't always monsters or disasters. Sometimes it's ordinary people doing unspeakable things without remorse. Imagine a world where nuclear war didn't just end society, it ended humanity's future. In Threads, the United Kingdom experiences a devastating nuclear war, realistically depicting its horrific aftermath. Society collapses immediately, cities burn, millions die, and survivors struggle helplessly in a destroyed landscape. Radiation sickness, starvation, and cold kill many more. The film doesn't end there. It continues decades into the future, showing humanity permanently damaged. Survivors lose education, technology, and even language skills. Communities revert to primitive living, suffering endlessly from disease and hunger. Humanity's future generations become stunted physically and mentally, born damaged by radiation, malnutrition, and trauma. There's no rebuilding, no recovery, only continued suffering. This universe is haunting because it realistically shows nuclear war's lasting effects on society and human nature. Instead of heroic survival or rebuilding civilization, humans become savage, brutal, and desperate. Society doesn't recover. It degenerates further, losing all cultural knowledge. The film suggests humanity could be permanently destroyed, not just temporarily disrupted. Threads is terrifying because it portrays nuclear war as the ultimate human failure, permanently ending meaningful existence and leaving endless pain behind. The film reminds us that humanity is fragile, capable of destroying itself completely and irreversibly, leaving future generations with nothing but darkness, ignorance, and suffering.